Gloomgrave is a game that drew me in by design. I'm a big fan of simple graphics and dungeon crawlers, so this game was clearly up my alley. While it definitely did quite a few things I liked, there were a couple of things missing that limited its staying power and, more importantly, made some aspects of the game a bit more cumbersome than I would like them to be. Gloomgrave has you navigate dungeons in a grid-like fashion. The game controls via touchscreen movements and also has the option of making buttons available. This was my preferred means of playing. Each step takes a turn as you search for gold to buy items at a merchant shop, gear to make your life easier, food, potions and scrolls to heal or temporarily increase some stats, and statues to permanently upgrade your character's attributes. There are three primary attributes that determine both the type of character you will play and the gear that you will have equipped. Some great items have strength requirements to use, including plated armor, which means that if this is something that you want, you're often going to have to buy or find a ring of strength, which will give you a substantial stat boost and allow you to equip the weapons and armor that you would otherwise have inaccessible to your character. There are 9 floors to make it through and 5 characters to play, each of whom has their own different starting stats and traits. You can obtain additional traits by leveling up with XP gained from killing monsters. These traits allow you to focus on creating a walking tank that allows you to reflect a portion of damage back at enemies, to creating a build that enables you to guarantee attacks after opponents miss theirs. The game does have a few quirks that should not be overlooked. The first is that some combat styles just feel better to play than others, both in terms of survivability and control. Personally, I almost never got a good run where I focused on bow and arrow attacks. The reason for this is that rooms are generally small and there's often only 1 or 2 spaces separating you and your enemy. This makes it less than ideal in several situations. This leads to the next issue, the lack of loadout presets. Having a bow build to supplement a weaker melee build would be a lot more enjoyable if you had the ability to hot button for a loadout that you had created in advance. I found the act of unequipping and re-equipping my bow as enemies came into melee range to be overly cumbersome, and that deterred me from doing it in the first place. Also, the stat of strength seems to be overtuned compared to both accuracy and agility. This is because some stronger defenses can only be properly worn when you have reached a set amount of strength. Without the appropriate amount, it greatly reduces your accuracy or ability to dodge attacks. However, once you reach the necessary limit for your build, there's never a reason to invest in it again, as you're better off increasing the likelihood of dodging attacks altogether. I would have also liked to have seen a mini-map available on the UI instead of having to navigate back and forth between the map screen and the in-game world. The last critique that I would like to mention is that it's often unclear how close you are to leveling up. This information does not fundamentally change any of my decision calculus, but I do feel like having the information readily available instead of behind 2 different screens would have been a nice quality of life thing to see. Despite a few minor setbacks, I actually did enjoy the game. This was one that had been on my radar, and I'm glad I finally got the opportunity to play it. It is available on both the iOS and Android stores for $3.99. It was an enjoyable experience, and given the kind of game that it is, it has infinite replayability as long as you enjoy the gameplay. After roughly 3.5 hours with it, I do feel like I'd seen all there was to see, and that certain parts of the game, especially the early game, were out of the player's control given how weak you are when you begin. That being said, if you like the gameplay, be sure to give it a try for yourself using the link in the description below. To not miss any future mobile game reviews, be sure to subscribe to Gaming in the Moment.